Let me ask you a dangerous question. What if everything you were taught about learning is a lie? Think carefully. You've been told to sit still, memorize boring textbooks, follow a fixed syllabus, raise your hand, wait for permission, and call that education. But what if I told you the system is not designed to make you brilliant? It's designed to make you average, obedient, replaceable. Let that sink in. Because if school truly created geniuses, then why do most geniuses, Einstein, Da Vinci, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, even Benjamin Franklin, either hated school, dropped out of it, or educated themselves in private? They discovered one core truth. You don't need permission to become brilliant. You need obsession, you need direction, and you need a system that actually works for your brain. Here's the part they don't want you to know. You've been conditioned to believe you need a teacher to start, a degree to feel smart, a classroom to learn. That's false. You've been trained like a pet, not educated like a genius. The truth? Geniuses aren't born, they're self-manufactured. Not in noisy classrooms or rigid routines, but in silence, in curiosity, in rebellion. Let me prove it to you. Let's say you want to master any topic: math, music, marketing, medicine, anything. You don't need 4 years, you don't even need 4 months, because the genius mind doesn't wait to be taught. It creates its own curriculum. It builds obsession like a machine. It hacks reality to extract knowledge, fast, deep, and permanently. But you were never trained to think like this, because they don't want independent thinkers. They want you to believe smart is a gift you either have or don't. They want you stuck in a loop, chasing degrees, fearing failure, needing validation. But here's the secret. The human brain is neuroplastic. That means it can literally rewire itself. And when you educate yourself like a genius, you start hacking that rewiring. You stop memorizing. You start understanding. You stop being a student. You become the scientist of your own brain. And once you see how easy and addictive learning becomes when you do it the right way, school feels like a joke. Now here's the part that'll mess with your head. You're already capable of genius-level learning, but you've been operating with a virus in your mind. The belief that education must be hard, slow, boring. Let's uninstall that virus right now. Forget slow progress. Forget reading 10 books and remembering nothing. Forget sitting in a chair hoping your brain will wake up. What you need is a new system, a dangerous system, one that breaks the rules, one that lets you reprogram your memory, focus, creativity, and curiosity at will. And guess what? It has nothing to do with exams, nothing to do with grades, and everything to do with thinking like a genius. So, if you're ready to destroy everything school taught you, if you're ready to rewire your brain to learn 10x faster, go deeper than ever and retain knowledge like a sponge. Then keep watching, because I'm about to show you how geniuses actually learn. And once you see it, you'll never study the same way again. Point 1. Create obsessive learning loops. Let me tell you something dangerous. Geniuses don't study, they get obsessed. They fall in love with the topic so hard, they forget the world exists. But here's the trick. You don't wait for obsession, you manufacture it. How? Simple. You build a loop. Learn, apply, see result, repeat. Even small results trigger dopamine. Dopamine makes you crave more. And now, learning is not discipline, it's addiction. Let's say you're learning Japanese. Instead of just memorizing words, you use them instantly. Make a sentence, post it, hear someone reply. Boom, your brain says, "This is real, let's do more." Most people just read and forget. Geniuses interact and get hooked. They create feedback loops so their brain becomes addicted to improvement. Point 2. Build mental maps, not memory dumps. Average learners memorize. Geniuses map. They don't collect scattered facts, they build systems in their mind. Like a spider web, every new fact connects to a bigger picture. You see, your brain craves meaning, not random information. When you ask, "Why does this matter? Where does this fit?" your brain goes into construction mode. Let's say you're learning biology. Instead of memorizing the parts of a cell, you link it to energy, evolution, medicine, even your own body. Now, it's not a cell, it's a story, and your brain remembers stories forever. Geniuses don't just learn, they organize reality into frameworks. They see the architecture behind the knowledge. That's why they don't forget. Their brain isn't full, it's structured. Point 3. Input is useless without output. Most people think reading 10 books makes them smart. Wrong. Geniuses don't just consume, they produce. They teach, explain, write, debate. Why? Because output creates real understanding. You don't know something until you can explain it to a 5-year-old. Try it. If you stutter or forget, you never understood it in the first place. When Einstein was stuck, he'd write letters explaining physics in simple language. Why? To clarify his own mind. This is the law. Input without output equals confusion, but input plus output equals mastery. Write a blog, talk to a mirror, make a video. The moment you produce something, your brain goes into active mode. It strengthens connections, highlights gaps, and sharpens clarity. Geniuses talk to think. You should too. Point 4. Isolate, then go wild. Want to know how geniuses learn faster than everyone else? They isolate focus like monks, then go wild like hackers. They don't multitask. They go deep. One topic, one goal, one session. Phone off, world off, brain on. But once they learn the basics, they break the rules. They experiment. They combine ideas across fields. They learn from weird sources. Games, fiction, conversations, even dreams. This mix of focus plus chaos is genius fuel. Most people get stuck because they skim 10 things at once. Geniuses go deep into one thing and come out with 10 insights. So isolate your focus to go deep, then go wild to break boundaries. That's how real learning happens. Point 5. Learn by teaching or creating. Want to 10x your retention? Here's a dirty secret. Teaching is the ultimate hack. The moment you teach someone, even if they're imaginary, your brain rewires the information to make it crystal clear. Create a video, write a thread, teach your dog. It doesn't matter. Your brain doesn't care who's listening. What matters is that you're organizing the knowledge. Why do you think geniuses love writing books, essays, theories? Because it forces their brain to clarify the fog, to simplify complexity, to own the knowledge, not just borrow it. When you create, you become an architect of thought. When you teach, you become a transmitter of genius. And suddenly the information becomes yours, forever. Point 6. Create a daily curiosity ritual. Geniuses don't wait for motivation. They create rituals of curiosity, daily. They ask powerful questions like, why does this work? What if I reverse this idea? How could this break? And guess what? The brain becomes addicted to solving puzzles. This curiosity rewires the mind to look for deeper understanding, not just surface facts. A daily ritual can be simple. 1. Ask one mind-bending question. 2. Find the answer in 20 minutes. 3. Reflect or journal the insight. Do this daily, and your brain becomes a learning machine. School taught you to follow instructions. Curiosity teaches you to lead your mind. Point 7. Ignore 90% of information. Learn selectively. Geniuses don't learn everything. They learn the right things, in the right order, with extreme focus. They ignore fluff. They skip chapters. They follow first principles learning, starting from the foundations, then building up with ruthless clarity. You don't need 5 courses. You need one core concept, learned deeply. Instead of learning everything about marketing, start with what makes people take action. Once that's mastered, everything else becomes obvious. Information overload is a trap. Selectivity is a superpower. Geniuses are not smarter, they're more ruthless with their attention. Now you see the truth, don't you? You were never the problem. It was the system. They made you believe you weren't smart enough, fast enough, focused enough. But the truth is, your brain was never broken. It was just never unlocked. You were built to learn fast. You were built to go deep. You were built to become a genius in your own way. And now you know the tools. Now you've seen behind the curtain. So the real question is, what are you going to do with this power? Are you going to scroll to the next video, forget everything, and keep living like a robot? Or are you going to build your own education, one that makes you dangerous, independent, and unstoppable? You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You just need the guts to start. And if you're still here, I know one thing about you. You're not normal. You're ready. So, tell me in the comments, what's the first thing you are going to educate yourself in like a genius? And if you want a part 2, just say unlock part 2 below.